My name's Dean. I run a marketing agency and I get to see a lot of CRMs, from ones that I've used in my entire career with the businesses that I've been in or ran, to our clients currently. They use all different CRMs, and we quite often have to use their CRMs to look after their prospect data, market to their current customers, etc., etc. So I do get to see a lot, and I'm doing a review today of a fairly new player to the market, Birdy, which is a web-based CRM. The website is mybirdy.co.uk. You can see all the details there. I'll go through things like pricing later, but I am going to go through sort of, I suppose, my overall first impressions of the CRM. And then I'm going to break down each section for you in a little bit more detail. Not too much detail, but a little bit more detail. So logging in is really easy. You go to the website, mybirdy.co.uk. In the top right-hand corner, there's a login, and it's a very simple login. And this is the screen that you see now in front of you where you log into. So this is your dashboard. First impressions are it's incredibly clean. It's bright, but the panels are quite attractive. It's quite a lot of white space on this site with this nice blue colour, which is the Birdy's corporate colour. But I'll show you the dashboard first. So the dashboard is all the things that you'd want on a dashboard. I mean, we've got 4 columns here of things that are editable. So here we've got the opportunity summary, sales pipeline. So it's kind of very salesy. I've set this dashboard up at, but literally you can edit this dashboard to whatever you see fit. So if we go up to this edit button here, you can see all the things that we can put onto our dashboard. So if we wanted to put something like, let's say, tasks, and we wanted to replace tasks with products, and we would drag it on there, apply it, it'd refresh the screen, and all of a sudden I've got my tasks here. So you can see it's quite clean and user-friendly. I know, speaking to the developers, that there are more of these in the future coming up, so you'll be able to have more available panels. Just a quick one here, for space, you've got this menu bar, sidebar sits on the side all the way through the site, but you can actually shrink it by minimizing it there, and it shrinks down. If you've got a smaller browser or you want a bigger screen, you can actually just open it up again there. So if I go on to the settings you can set roles, automation, templates, my business, and that shows you your subscriptions. You can add new users to the platform. And in this, the bottom of this stack here, what you see is another button, radio button, that you can actually add more things to your panel, your side panel, or you can change the layout. So if you wanted something in a different order, you just move it around like that, apply the panel, update the panel, and then they will appear in the right order for you. So clicking on leads, I've only got a few in here because it's a test site, but you can actually search by lead there in terms of the customer name or the prospect name. You can search, if it's just me on here, but if you've got different salespeople in different regions, you can click there and just see the opportunities and leads for the relevant salespeople. Again, all these are sort of user-friendly here. Again, you can sort by pipeline. Let's say that it's establishing qualification. You can search by that, and then that would filter that. So if we just do that quickly, it's just done bubblegum there. Go back to everything. Clicking into this is the way all the way through. This all linked together, which is quite neat. And I think when you see a lot of CRMs, they're very, very complex, almost over complex, like they're trying to cram too much in. But this is really, really clean. And honestly, if you coming off something like you've engaged a Salesforce sales team or something like Microsoft Dynamics or something like that, one of the bigger CRMs, almost ERP systems, and you think it's either too expensive or way too complicated for what you need, you really need to be looking at Birdy, because it is everything that I would definitely need. And in my previous manufacturing background, again, it would be everything that I need in there, which we'll come on to. But this is the leads. This is the where it is in the sales pipeline. So that will change the opportunity funnel, whether it's existing customer, etc., new business, brand new business. So all these are editable, including where it came from. So you can set these up, Google Marketing Campaign or email campaign. You can see where the source lead came from, just there. And then the industry they're in. These are all preset industries in here. Now, you currently can't add any industries, but I've been told by the team at Birdy that this is going to be a function in the near future. So this sets up an opportunity, details here, notes here, and contact details down here, all very easy, and you can click into any of these and edit these. So that's where you handle your leads. Throughout the site, there's a few buttons at the top here. So this one here will actually clean up leads over 90 days old. We haven't got any over 90 days old, but it would clean those off there. So that just means that your sales team's not keeping like things for years and years when they're never going to come off. And again, throughout you can export. So if we export there, you can export it as CSV into something like Microsoft Excel. And that would export a very simple report, which you can set up in the templates. In terms of the opportunities tab, this breaks it down a little bit more because we've talked about a prospect. Now, again, this is where your sales funnel comes in. Here we've got qualification, needs analysis, proposal quote, negotiation review, and planning. Okay, so again, in the near future, these are going to be user definable, so you can have your own fields in there. But really, no one, in my opinion, needs any more than sort of 4 or 5 proposal pipeline elements. So again, you can see in here details of the prospect and what stage they're at. Okay, so you can see this one, a made up customer. We can do this in 2. We can move it around, so we can move it from needs analysis to proposal quote and then save that. We've got this quite graphical representation of where they are, but we can actually switch that to a kind of list view there if you want to do it that way. But I much prefer that way there. There's also, again, throughout the CRM, there's quite a neat thing here, view on map, so you can view where they are on the map. And you see here we've got the yellow halo around there. You can see this is where the biggest opportunities are, groups via value in that area. So if you've got regional salespeople and you can see there's a lot of opportunities there in this area, then obviously you can plan your site visits to visit sort of 3 or 4 potential customers in a day. So we'll go back to our made up customer, we'll click into here, and from here you can create a new quote. So you can put all your details on the quote there. You can add your products in there. Again, I'll come back onto products in the products section, products and services section, and this will create a quote that you can then send out on a template, on a branded template. So if we go into quotes, we can see these are the summary of the quotes. So we can see here these are the customers. Subject, reference, status, etc., value created, and who it was assigned to. Clicking into the quote shows you what it is, value of it. You can edit it from there, pulls the unit price off from the system that you've already preset, so you don't have to set this every time. This pulls the information from the database into here, so if you change it in the database, it will set it up for any new opportunity and quote that you produce. If we're going to customers and contacts, this is obviously the main core of the database where all your details are, but as with any CRM, everything will be linked to your prospect or customer depending on what orders they've had, what sales, if they've got any more sales in the pipeline, it's all linked to there. So let's take Cyberdyne Systems here, all the information there, EU export risk, export declaration, etc., payment terms in here, which you can change, currency in here, which again is quite useful for international business, which a lot of people do nowadays. We can see there's 2 open tasks here on the project, but from here we can do things like create a letter. So if we create a letter here, we can pick this document up, create that. And if we open that up, and I'll drag it over onto screen, you can see, I mean, this is that I've set this up, it's not really branded that well, but you can actually brand this easily. So you can change in the template, so you can have what text you want in there with your signature and everything. On the right hand side here, we can set new activity. So new activity could be anything, just a note, a phone call, a meeting, a document, or an email. So you can link it to the client, or the client in this, the customer in this case. You can assign it to somebody, you can put your notes, and then you can save that document there, and that'll appear anywhere. You can view that anywhere throughout the site, wherever this Cyberdyne system's in place. This topic gives you kind of a summary of where you're at in terms of the pipeline value of new orders you've got coming through, the last activity, and what tasks you've got open. I really like it. It's really clean. You could just start typing in here just to filter your customers out nice and easily. And as on most screens, you can create a new contact, new customer, new supplier, new group in here on the top right hand side. So really, really easy. So products or services, this is your inventory. So it's the stuff in terms of sales inventory, it's the thing that you're selling. So all your products are in here, or your services, if you're that way inclined. But we can look here, Banoffee Blondies. This is the inventory we've got. This is the size. This is the weight. This is the list price. And this is where it pulls the information on when you're putting quotes together. You've got different tax rates here, product notes here, even things like allow split packs. And so it's, in terms of it's a bit more than just a normal a contact management system for customers. It's definitely a little bit more into, and it's developing into more of a mini ERP almost. It's got here what measures, crates, boxes per day, per hour. So again, if you're going back to services, you can put per day, per hour. And then here we can add stock. So if we go add stock here, and we can say we add 20 more, we're going to put it in the main warehouse. We're going to put it in this bay here, and we'll add stock there. And it would add stock. It would add stock to your inventory, so you can see when you're running out of things how much you've got in stock without actually contacting the people in the warehouse. Now we've just added stock there. At the top here we've got stock here, and we can see our total stock, allocated stock, available stock, and how many years supply we've got at our current rate of selling the if we have a big rise in orders, obviously that will change, but it can tell us on average orders how many years of supply we've got in stock of Banoffee Blondies. It could tell you what bay they're at, what location they're at, what warehouse they're at, and then what's allocated. So this one's got Pritchett closets and blinds have ordered 50 Banoffee Blondies, and it will take that from the stock, their allocated stock. So it's really simple, really good. It's not massively detailed, but it's detailed enough for you to run your operation easily. And certainly if you're an SME that's got multiple systems for sales, operations and stock, for me this is perfect. So we'll go to orders now. We can see Pritchett closets and blinds. Well, we know they've ordered some Banoffee, but they've also ordered other things as well. So there's the total gross price. Again, dollars, you can change this to pounds. And it's all there. It's all there. You can export that. You can apply discounts, and you can set discounts up in the background. And here, there's a whole lot of other stuff you can do in terms of splitting the order, recycling, adding credit, archiving, reapply tax rates, etc., etc. Here down the right hand side, this is really useful. You can see activity. So they love the samples. So any notes or calls are really useful. Leads, notes, calls. So if you can see back here in September, it was a lead, then call, then we sent samples, then wants to order, and then this is the order. So this is a great example of you tracking it from where the lead came from, who spoke to who, and how the whole process, the sales process from prospect to order took place. Okay, now in procurement or purchase orders, but these are purchase orders that are on the system. So sometimes we'll need supplies from third-party suppliers along the supply, and we're in the middle of the supply chain. So here we've got Genco Pura Olive Oil Company. We're going to here. So you can see here the outstanding balance, how many of you received and how many you actually got to purchase. So you can go in and see the detail there. See here we've got 60 quantity added stock of 100 required. So it's a really good way to keep up with your suppliers and your stock from your suppliers also. In here we can add more stock. Again, we can add to stock and we can add more stock in there to give us our balance. So if we've had a delivery in, we can add it to stock and then we know how much we've got. Okay, so moving into projects. Now this is really unusual to see in a CRM of this size. like a project management Gantt chart, which is crazy, really. I've not really seen anything like this in any of the ones that I've seen. And I think one of the major benefits of using something like this is that you don't have to have different licenses for different things. So you don't have to have a Microsoft project license, for example. There's a sales management kind of software that you can buy. There's order management software you can buy. There's stock warehouse management software you can buy. This is kind of an all-in-one, and it's really easy, and it's really not price prohibitive either. So if we go into projects, I'll show you what I mean. So if we go onto Project Honeycomb, and then it's top grey bar here, got content, resources, timeline. If we just drop into timeline, we can see exactly what I mean. So we can see the stages here and when they're happening, and if there's any milestones on there that are dependent on the other ones. And yet we can shrink this down. See, we've gone back a bit there, so we can see the dates. So that's actually good for managing projects, whether it's managing projects for a new set of products that you want to sell, or whether you're doing it for e-commerce or whatever. So really, really neat feature. I really like this. Again, we saw before on this client, the new order, we've still got the activity down here, so we can relate it back to that client. In terms of calendars and tasks, now a lot of people use a third-party system of calendars and tasks. I use Gmail. A lot of people use Microsoft Office. There are obviously others out there. This doesn't talk to any of those. That's one of the downsides. It's very difficult, I think, for any CRM developers to get the APIs sorted for the constantly changing APIs for task and calendar management. So if you're going to use this calendar and task system, then use it and don't use your other task system. But it's the same. It's got calendar, tasks, journal. So I would only use this if you're going to use the system as a whole, but it doesn't have an email client on it. I have to say that right now. It doesn't have an email client on it, so you will have to be using third-party email systems. It's not a Salesforce top-end competitor. It really is for people that kind of don't want to invest in that level of information, detail, or certainly that level of value. But the trade-off is there is some downsides, and one of them is, a non-integrated calendar that you have to use within the system. If you're going to use it, a task management system, same, and no external email system as of yet, and nothing planned either. If we move on to insights, these are quite neat. We've got 12 out-of-the-box reports there. So we can look at, let's have a look at profitability. Here you can set a start and end date. Let's go back. Done. End date today, and run that report. And then it produces your profitability by customer report between the times that you've asked it to. Gives you a total at the bottom and breaks it all down here. Quite neat. You can export that Excel, PDF or Word. Again, quite useful. You can print it off from there as well. So that is an example of that report. If we go back to Insights, we'll choose... It uses Microsoft reporting services, this does. But... there are 12 here. Again, I've spoken to the developers, and there are more reports planned in the future. But if we look at something like, I don't know, sales by product, there's a second example. We go back a bit, and we run that one. Then we can see which products are selling the most, what markup you've got on there, gross margins, gross profit, etc., etc. So really, really good data. Obviously, you need to set the data up initially, and I believe that, it is very simple to set up, but I believe there's some training available from Birdy to help you do this. But honestly, it's so easy to set up compared to others that I've seen. So there is a mobile app. It's available only on Android currently, but things will change going forward, again, speaking to the developers. And it's quite clean. It's neat. It doesn't have the full functionality that this does, but it's still very, very good. If you're looking at where this sits as a CRM, for me, it sits in amongst things like Insightly, Pipedrive, Capsule. But I've got to say on the pricing that comparing the pricing with all of those, and again, it's very difficult to compare the pricing here because some things have slightly different features. But I would say out of all of them, this has the most feature-rich set across the board. It might not be as detailed as some of the others in some of the areas, but for me, it's simplicity. It's clean. It's really easy to use. You get a whole lot for your money. And it's around half the price of those competitors that I've mentioned. So if you're looking for something that's easy in, easy to use, easy to set up and easy to run with, from sales all the way through to warehousing, I don't think you can go wrong with Birdy. So I hope that's been useful for you. I don't really like CRMs because they are too complex. This is the first one I've seen for many years that's really clean and easy to use and that I like. And I will be using this on an ongoing basis in my business.